So the former director of Libra has joined the Polkadot team, specifically the Web3 Foundation. Bertrand Perez, who's the former COO of the DM project, which was also called Libra beforehand, and then they did like a little rebrand refresh after getting their teeth kicked in front of Congress. He has now joined the Web3 Foundation, which is helping to build out the Polkadot blockchain. Of course, there's a lot of names here, so I apologize. But the Polkadot blockchain is a Web3 project to bring decentralized money to the internet, very similar in scope to Ethereum or any smart contract-based platform. He said that he decided to resign from the DM project because they are increasingly focused on the US market and they need to comply with US regulations. And his background does not permit that, as he is more dealt with Swiss regulations. And it makes sense for him to go to the Web3 Foundation, which more so than not does operate in that kind of Berlin, Switzerland hacker scene. So kind of like a smooth transition there from his perspective, but it is interesting to see another nail in the coffin for DM. Zach, I want to throw it over to you to talk about that.
Yeah, really interesting, like super interesting signal for both of these projects, right? So DM has seen an exodus of, top leadership, right? We have Dante Disparte, who was a key figure in Libra/DM from its inception. He left for Circle earlier this year. Now Bertram going to Polkadot is another interesting signal that, it's kind of that's a project that is losing steam a little bit as it inches toward an actual launch that we've still yet to see from DM. So interesting that that's occurring on that side. On the Polkadot side, I think this is a really interesting addition to their team. The fact that they, have captured a lot of excitement just around their asset itself, DOT, without a ton to show from it on the tech end. They're still sort of in the process of working through the parachain auctions, which go through the Canary the Canary network, Kusama, and then they go to the main stage, Polkadot, at some future date. So a lot of excitement around this network, a lot of excitement around this base layer. For them to add a heavyweight from the world of DM is actually kind of an interesting signal in terms of how they see the opportunity unfolding before them, right? I wouldn't necessarily think, former DM guy to Polkadot, but it's an interesting sort of glimpse into how they're staffing up to embrace this future that's before them. So super interesting signal for both these projects, absolutely.
Yeah, well, I had to add on as a final nail in the coffin for DM. This is kind of like I could see how someone kind of being at DM and waiting for U.S. regulators to provide a little bit more of context around stablecoins and guidance on stablecoins could get pretty kind of bored. The U.S. Federal Reserve Chair, Jerome Powell, is like, we were going to have a stablecoin report at the beginning of the summer or in the middle of summer, and now it's like coming sometime in September. So everything kind of in terms of the government's addressing digital assets has kind of been pushed off. Promises about like it coming earlier, and I could see both with the crackdown on stablecoins that currently exist and the kind of like scrutiny that's applied there. And waiting for the Fed and other regulators to actually like provide some sort of like guidance. It could be very frustrating for anyone that's at a stablecoin project that hasn't launched yet right now.
Yeah, I guess I'll push back a little bit. I don't think this is the final nail in the coffin of DM. I think we're going to see a DM launch in some form. It's going to be greatly scaled back from its initial ambition. Like in retrospect, its initial ambition was quite ambitious. It had all these crazy assets in this basket that was to provide stability, but that was significantly curtailed because there was fears on the part of global regulators that they would become sort of the de facto currency that would, strip central bankers of all their levers to pull in the economy. Zuck bucks. So anyway, it won't be Zuck bucks, but I think DM will launch. But I don't know. Yeah, it's definitely been a hard row to hoe for that team. So anyway, we'll take it.
Yeah, I got one question. I'm glad that I got you two on the show. This is like the dream team to talk about DM. Why have they been so slow to roll out a stablecoin backed only by a basket of dollars when Circle and Coinbase have been doing that for about a year or two now? And that project has taken off and it's been fine. I mean, are they just really worried about securities coming or the SEC coming after them? And they're like, hey, we're not going to touch this until we get a little bit more regulatory clarity. And by that time, does it not matter?
I mean, yeah, they keep saying, "Hey, we're committed to making sure this is compliant." Like in the meantime, they're getting lapped, right? You know, I think when we first covered Celo, which is a proof of stake blockchain network, Celo was sort of seen as Libra without Facebook, and Celo recently launched like an incentive program, getting like Sushi Swap and Pool Together like onto that platform to make this vision of mobile native payments easy, fast, cheap, and accessible. The fact that they're sort of like doing that while Facebook and Libra, well, I know Facebook and Libra they do not equal each other. But while they've been just again licking their wounds, they took a real beating, right? They were like the meat shield so that Bitcoin and other projects could thrive while other regulators beat up on Zuck. So yeah, they're the meme. We should do that meme for them. Like the crouch soldier meme is Libra, and then Libra went away, and then they had something else to pick a fight with. But anyway, the slow going and the hey, we want to do this compliantly. It may pay off in the long run. Maybe they're playing the long game, but for now, it looks like they're definitely getting lapped. Jen, I want your thoughts. Close us out.
I mean, I think they're playing the slow game because maybe they have a lot more to lose, and maybe I'm choosing the wrong words there. But Facebook has an entirely different business that they need to uphold and run, and they're just getting into the financial space. They're not a financial company, and so it kind of makes sense to me that they're playing it safe here and have been so slow. And I don't think it's going to benefit them in the long run, but it makes sense to me.
They do have elections to overthrow, so they're pretty busy.
They're busy.
is active to top it off.
Wow.
Just kidding.
Wow. I will not segue that.
Will
that is some
with
craziness.
the shade.
All right.